Tourette's syndrome is a neurological disorder characterized by repetitive, stereotyped, involuntary movements and vocalizations called tics. In order to work with someone with Tourette's syndrome, we must have a certain level of cultural competence. Cultural competence refers to the ability to interact effectively with people of different cultures. There are four aspects, which include an awareness of one's own cultural worldview, attitude about cultural differences, knowledge of different cultural practices and worldviews, and cross-cultural skills. An awareness of one's own cultural worldview. I must evaluate my own assumptions. What would I think if I saw someone in public having a tic? Would I recognize that they were having a tic, or would I assume that they were a misbehaving child or mentally ill adult? I would like to think that I would recognize it as a tic. Be aware of my own beliefs. I must be aware that things I see in the media may affect my own beliefs about how people with Tourette's syndrome's tics can affect their daily lives. For example, most of what I've seen in the media focuses on the bursts of profanity from people with Tourette's syndrome. If someone's tic is not that burst of profanity, and it is something like biting, like the young man in the video, I may not recognize it as a tic. Attitude about cultural differences. My beliefs may be different from someone with a different culture. Because of my cultural beliefs, I believe that a child with Tourette's should be evaluated based on their individual needs to see if they would benefit most from learning in the regular classroom or a smaller class. Someone with a different cultural belief may prefer that a child with Tourette's be placed in a different classroom than their child. People in other cultures may not recognize my views. I may have difficulty working with others if they are offended by things that are acceptable in my culture. Knowledge of different cultural practices and worldviews. Ask others about their culture and individual experiences. Recognize that I have a much different experience than someone with Tourette's syndrome. To get a better understanding of their culture, I can ask if someone with Tourette's feels comfortable sharing their personal experiences and views. Team up with those in the culture. If they are willing to share their experience, they may be able to connect me with others in the culture to gain a better understanding of how to serve their specific needs. Cross-cultural skills. Recognize how to communicate with people from different cultures. Someone with Tourette's syndrome will belong to a cultural group that I do not belong to. I must be able to recognize that their communication may be different and accommodate them accordingly. For example, someone with Tourette's syndrome may need to do several tics within a single sentence. I must be able to focus less on the tic and focus more on the message they are trying to communicate with me. Communicating across multiple different cultures. People may belong to many different cultural groups. For example, someone with Tourette's syndrome may also be from a different country, both of which will affect how we communicate. Someone with Tourette's syndrome may face issues with equity as well. Equity is a guarantee of fair treatment, access, opportunity, and advancement. They may not be given the same types of opportunities. Someone with Tourette's syndrome may not be given the same opportunity as someone without it just because of their tics. They may face different barriers. Someone with Tourette's syndrome would face completely different barriers in getting an opportunity, such as a job, than I would. They may be judged unfairly. An employer might write them off before they get a chance to show their unique worth to a workplace simply because of their tics.